I'm not even going to say Happy New Year again because it's the third day of the year and this is my third video. I normally don't record this much, but it's winter break. I teach in a couple weeks, and also there's just a lot going on right here. So I'm going to talk about the Fighting Irish Conductor freestyle by someone whose stage name is Drake, birth name is Anita Steak Graham, and I'm gonna be talking about this just because I can. My wife got me this new setup, and it's pretty sweet. It means I can record basically anytime, and it looks pretty good. And so I want to talk about this song, and when I do, I want to celebrate it a little bit because I've been nervous, and I mentioned this yesterday, that 2024 can't get any better for us rap commentators, us culture observers like myself. And then the Joey Badass thing seemed to indicate, well, maybe we're going to keep going with this emphasis on the art over the commerce of rap music. That would be a really awesome thing. And then this new drop, this leak, this whatever the hell this is by Drake, is proof that we might be back in silly season. We might be back in full-on horse hockey town of just absolute nonsense all the time, which is also maybe less sophisticated, maybe less interesting than the great art, but it's very, very entertaining. So first of all, I want to address the fact that this was allegedly a leak and not intentionally released. Listen, Drake is famous for releasing accidental leaks on the internet that he actually means to. And of course, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about push-ups. He didn't initially release that and then he took it down. So he lets all sorts of things out that he wants to show people and then takes them away as though he wasn't trying to show them the whole time. So I'm going to take this as a very real song. I'm going to treat it as an actual attempt to do whatever it is he's trying to do. I'm going to be talking about many references. I'll be talking about Wile E. Coyote. I'll be talking about Malcolm X. I'll be talking about Mean Girls. And I'll be talking about Shaggy. Zoinks! Not that one. So first of all, this is a weird thing, because I got this little Conductor Williams Lego set. I got two, one for me, one for my son. And I didn't think I would be using it this much this year. But this is 2 days in a row that I'm discussing a song produced by Conductor Williams. I want to say I still think Conductor Williams is one of the best producers in the world. I think he's amazing. I think this is a great beat. I thought it was a great beat with Joey Badass. But I'm a little scared because, okay, let's be honest. Conductor gets the best out of Drake. I think their mixture goes really well, and he is able to get something out of Drake that I don't usually get out of him. So I'm not upset with them working together, but I am afraid of the Drake stink. The Drake stank. The taint. Drake taint. I'm afraid of Drake's taint. Like, Drake taints people who are too close to him. We saw that with Lil Yachty. I love Lil Yachty. I think he's great, but a lot of people have been sort of yelling at me saying, like, how can you hate that Drake lover? And J. Cole even. I'm the thing I'm supposed to be doing. The thing I've been preparing for a couple days is my 2014 Forest Hills Drive first listen review that I'm going to be doing pretty soon. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, smash the like bucket, all that stuff. But he's got the Drake taint on him, and now I'm afraid that Conductor might be. I'm just a little bit scared. But anyways, we'll have to see. But it's a good song. I think it's, as far as a rap song goes, he has one rhyme scheme and he follows it all the way through to mixed results, but generally positive. It's not super polished. I don't think it's supposed to be super polished. As a neutral observer, not really trying to dissect it, not mad at Anita Steak Graham for being the person that he is, doing the things that he does, I can say it's a fine song. But there's a couple things. One thing is people call this a diss track. This is not a diss track. This is what the kids might call a cope track. Okay? And that's going to be, I'm going to go through not all the lyrics, but most of the lyrics. And I'll read them to you because there's not that much. There's only a couple minutes. And I'll sort of divide them into parts. And part one is copium. If you don't know the term copium, this came from internet slang, apparently from 4chan. So I guess they did do some good things there. I'm going to give a definition from Wiki. A metaphorical opiate, taken in order to cope with a loss or disillusionment, often leading to one becoming detached from reality and in denial of their situation. This whole beginning and most of this song is just Drake hitting that copium pipe. You know the live streams of him where he's just gambling, where he's paid to gamble. He's paid to get other people to get addicted to gambling. I'm not done with you by damn sight, Drake. You know that? And he's got the shisha. Let's pretend instead that he's got that little pipe and he's just smoking on copium. The summer is over. I missed it. Did you, Drake? Did you miss the summer where you lost? Did you not show up to the game that you lost? Barrel with smoke and I kissed it. The world fell in love with the gimmicks. So, okay, there's a couple things. One, to call Kendrick Lamar beating you gimmicks when those gimmicks are making songs that are simultaneously the most popular songs of the year and Grammy nominated, universally acclaimed, that like shifted the culture entirely into a whole different direction. Like if that's just a gimmick, that's already cope. That's already, or as you kids might say, cap. It's like, dude, don't call it a gimmick. And then second of all, let's say it is. Let's say it is a gimmick. Hip-hop is a competitive art, as I mentioned yesterday, you know? And if someone's beating you with gimmicks, you still got to beat them. In my high school days, I did not study. I did not read books. I read one book in all high school, Frankenstein. That was it. I used to read Shakespeare, and I would skip the speeches because I thought they were boring. So for me, Shakespeare was like, "Hark, I have arrived. Good to see you, dear sir." Skip, skip, skip. Till the next day then, be merry, skip, skip. So I wasn't a good student. What I was good at was combat games, fighting games, video games, you know? And I remember one day, my friend Ben, we were playing Street Fighter 2, and he played as Guile. And for some reason, he figured out some way to do this flying knee kick where like his knees like tucked up under his legs, and like nobody could beat him. Nobody. None of it. I had like 8 people over at the house. We were all playing. We could not beat him. It was a gimmick, but he won. He was the king of Street Fighter 2 that day. And so, you know, that taught me something. And when I learned how to play Mortal Kombat 2, you know, often, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, people who don't know how to play, they'll just do the sweep kick, which is the easiest thing to do and might get to win. And what do you have to do? You have to learn how to beat the gimmick. And it used to be, I would love it. I'd go to Tommy's Pizza, I'd put down my 50 cents, and I would just play for an hour on that 50 cents because people would come up and try to sweep kick me, and I would beat them. Drake, he did not sweep kick you. But even if he did, you got to learn how to get around it. All right, so anyways, just gimmicky, just right off the top, this kind of sour grapes, like, I guess I lost. I missed it. I totally missed the summer. But if I did see the summer, then it was a gimmick. It was cheap. Oh my God, it's cheap. Seriously, it reminds me of like me when I would lose games when I was too competitive and too immature. But that's cheap, man. Just get better. Even my brother got tickets. Okay, this is where things are getting interesting. I mentioned Malcolm X, and there's an expression that he used after JFK was shot. He said, "The chickens have come home to roost." By that, he meant that the violence that the white American power structure has visited upon the world has now come back to itself. So the chickens have come home to roost, essentially saying that we deserved that pain, right? Very controversial, one of the most controversial things he said. I just bring that up. He didn't invent the phrase, but he did popularize it. Is that, like Drake, the chickens are coming home to roost. I mean, if all your songs are about your friends being fake, and listen, I'm not like the biggest Drake fan. I've reviewed, 8, 9 Drake albums. I don't know how many I've reviewed. I've reviewed a lot. And almost all of the songs, if they are about friendship, are about fake friendships and about how it doesn't work. So, like, are we supposed to really feel it here? And listen, man, it's your brother. I feel it. You know, I don't know. I've listened to a lot of people talk about this. I've watched some commentary. I watched probably all of Chillin' with Moni. I really enjoyed her commentary on this. I don't know. I've been kind of watching. This isn't quite as much fun as Joey Badass stuff. But, you know, a lot of people are saying this is about LeBron. Okay? And, like, I get the pain, Drake. I get the pain, Steak, you know? Because, like, you feel like this was your brother. Except I, as many people watching this know, watched 8 hours of your streaming. I saw you stream with Aiden Ross. I saw you meet this man for the second time, maybe first time in person. And over the span of a couple hours, you told him on multiple occasions, Drake, he was your brother. This 24-year-old child, okay, this 24-year-old MAGA-loving, white supremacy platforming, shill, empty person is your brother. You put Aiden Ross on the same plane as LeBron motherfucking James. I don't care if I'm a Celtics fan, okay? I respect LeBron James, okay? I respect LeBron James on and off the court. And even if I didn't respect him off the court, I'd respect him on the court. And even if I disliked the man, I would not say he's my brother and then say Aiden Ross is my brother. Brotherhood, my friend Steak, does not mean anything in your music. Or it does not mean anything when you call someone brother. It doesn't mean something. It is transactional. And transactional friendships are not real friendships. That's a lesson which is a hard one to learn. I've learned that lesson. I have. I had transactional friendships. You remember, Jonathan, freshman year? You know, you were nice to me and you kind of taught me how to skateboard and stuff. But, you know, you knew I would always take you to Papa Gino's and you knew I'd always buy, you know? And then you stole some of my CDs, man. Not cool. But I used to make fun of you for being short, so actually I was a dick. I deserved it. But, you know, that was a transactional friendship, and I learned that wasn't a real friendship. The Heart Part 6 by Kendrick Lamar is a perfect example. Why that was so brilliant on GNX is he is explaining what non-transactional friendships are like. Even though he's talking about people in the industry like Dave Free, like Schoolboy Q, he is talking about real brothers, real people who are actually in his life and who are actually close to him. The kinds of friendships that Drake refuses to have and pretends that he has by calling everybody and anybody who he can make money with a brother. The chickens have come home to roost. If you call everyone a brother, then you have no brothers. That's for you too, Hulk Hogan. Seemed like they loved every minute. He's so bitter. Just to know this shit is personal to us and wasn't just business. That's the problem, Drake. Remember your new brother, Aiden Ross? Remember how you called Aiden Ross your brother on stream multiple times? Do you remember that, Drake? Because I remember that, because I just mentioned it. And I just saw it. And things happen, and words have meaning, and things get recorded. And you call this man your brother. I also remember when he said we should stream more, you just laughed and said, in order for us to do that, they're going to have to not just pay us millions, they're going to have to pay us billions. That's what you said, Drake. That's what friendship is. That's what brotherhood is for you. It is not personal. It is business. That's the whole point. Your friendship with LeBron was business. That's what it was. So don't go crying about it. Analyzing behavioral patterns is somewhat suspicious. What does that mean? How is it suspicious, analyzing behavioral patterns? That's like a useful thing to do. That's how we learn how to navigate the world. If you don't analyze people's behavior patterns, you will be constantly surprised and perhaps hurt, you know? What, so you have like a boss at your job and you don't analyze his behavioral patterns or her behavioral patterns or their behavioral patterns, and then you end up getting fired because, you know, you didn't pay attention to the fact that that one time you came back from lunch 5 minutes late, they noted it and you didn't really care, and you kept on showing up 5 minutes late for lunch, and you were just kind of hanging around. You didn't really care. It was just 5 extra minutes on your cell phone, whatever. You were just goofing around, and then you're out of a job because you weren't analyzing behavioral patterns. That's what we do. That's what we have to do, Drake. Was never happy for me when I run up the digits or when I'm breaking world records as I guzzle a Guinness. Sure they were. People were commenting on it. I feel like everyone was like, oh, Drake did it again. Say what you will about the guy, but he has a lot of success. Or when I get my 5th Maybach because the color is different. So what is it, Drake? You're complaining, right? It's a personal, it's a whining song. It's so sad. He's so sad he's been betrayed by his brothers who mean so much to him because they're good at basketball, because they're good at what they do, because there's a financial advantage to being friends with them. And you know, you don't like me because I have too many Maybachs. But where does the Maybachs come from, Drake? Where does it come from? It comes from Lucien Grange. It comes from the stranglehold you have on the music market. It comes from your vampiric ability to collaborate with people and steal their essence. And now it all comes from Eddie Craven, your Australian gambling baby daddy, who you're going to go visit during the Super Bowl. It's awesome. I think it's great. You guys are going to have a little romantic week together, traveling all over the place. Did I mention Mean Girls? Because now we're going to get into the Mean Girls time. Okay, listen, this is awfully gendered. Okay, in my experience, teenage boys and teenage girls are equally petty with each other. It's just teenage girls, they're more overt with it. You know, like they're less like seething and angry, and they're more like explaining it, more demonstrative with it. And so that's why I'm calling this kind of a Mean Girls thing. Remember, we were trading watches, and I gave you that Arabic dial, and you gave me a numbered edition. Dude, I understand. It's, you know, teenage relationships are tough. You know. Remember when we went on a date, and I gave you my Letterman jacket, and you gave me a friendship bracelet that you made at camp over summer, and you're like, what is this? Like, what is this? Exchanging watches with friends? Like, I'm sure whoever it is that's hearing that is supposed to be like, oh, damn, did I do that to my brother? But I would just be like, we're just a couple of rich douchebags with too much money, not knowing what to do, just giving each other money. You know what I mean? You know, for how much money that is worth to him, that'd be like, you know, me going and buying you an iced tea at 7-Eleven and me writing a song about it, being like, remember when I bought you the iced tea? I bought you the Arizona iced tea at 7-Eleven, and you bought me a bag of the sour Skittles? And you would even check up on my son like a pediatrician. Man, just a little piece of advice. Don't, all words that start with PED should be out of your vocabulary, Drake. Just you don't want us thinking about words that start with peed, okay? Like if you're on a bicycle, just say that you move the wheels and don't say you pedal, okay? All right. And then this is where you get super wild. Sure, convince the gang the shit was rooted in love when it isn't. Show me how different we are, them's blessings, a juxtaposition. Now you and the boys abandon your summer tradition. Cold shoulder in the Hamptons, it come with the distance. So he's talking about a party in the Hamptons and feeling like he got the cold shoulder. Like Kimberly was at the party and it was kind of like awkward because, you know, we both like Tommy, and like I asked him out first and he said no, but she knew that I liked him and she asked him out anyway, and they dated for a couple of weeks, and now Tommy likes me. So we're at the party together and she just gave me the stink eye. She was looking at me like, the whole time. You know, Kimberly? I just can't stand Kimberly. God, I got a text about this. Okay, that's what this is. You're at a party and you're getting the cold shoulder and you're putting it in a wrap. Now let's put this in the larger context. This is in the context of what's his face? What's the name of the immoral pig fucker who we're talking about here? Anyways, the white party is by one of those billionaires. One of the billionaires who he is interested in starting a TV show about. And see my last Drake video about that. What's interesting is this billionaire, and you can tell me in the comments, I don't remember his name, but Aiden Ross mentioned his name. And Drake was like, why'd you say his name? God, I really got to remember this name now. What was the name of the guy? Anyways, let's just come up with a fake name, Mr. Envelope, okay? So he's like, Mr. Envelope, and said, why'd you say that name? Why'd you say Martha? Because it must be that Drake has been really thinking about this guy's party, this guy's white party in the Hamptons, where he got dissed by somebody, ignored by somebody. Figured we was always going to be close like ovens and kitchens. Ovens are not close to kitchens. There are parts of speech called prepositions, okay? Usually they are prepositions of place, at, above, next to, beyond, beneath, below, okay? At, with, okay? And close is one of those. So good. Ovens are in kitchens, okay? They are not close to kitchens. That's the wrong preposition. It doesn't work. It would be like saying, we were close, just like steering wheels and cars. It's like the steering wheel's in the car. That doesn't make any sense. I was sadly mistaken. The loyalty wasn't a given. Yeah, I know. It wasn't a given because you have transactional friendships, because you are proud that all of your relationships, except for the relationship you have with your mother, you are proud that the only relationships you have are transactional. And you will say over and over again the lyrics, which I will not forgive you forever, where you talk about having sex with women and giving them money and then dropping them off in public housing because it is purely transactional. The chickens have come home to roost. If you are going to talk about transactional relationships, you are going to suffer from them when you hit bottom. And cried the blues, saying it wasn't malicious, talking about family. Well, I'm not the cousin to visit. God forbid we ever got to tarnish your public image, and all that brother talk as if I really discovered a sibling. Again, brotherhood, brotherhood, brotherhood. I want you all to remember every single time Drake says the word brother, I want you to see Aiden Ross with his MAGA hat interviewing Donald Trump and understanding that is his brother. Not LeBron James, not 21. Okay? That's his brother. Aiden Ross Graham. 6 degrees, my memories retrieve in our humble beginnings. Wanted trouble, grabbed the shovel, dug up some ditches, covered my body in dirt, but that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That wasn't me? I said I'd be talking about Shaggy, not Shaggy Zoinks, I'm talking about Shaggy, the reggae artist, who wrote the song called That Wasn't Me. Obviously, this is a reference to That Wasn't Me, because Kendrick is from Toronto, which has a very large Jamaican population, and he very clearly has a great love, a genuine love of reggae and of Jamaican culture. That is one of my favorite things about Drake, and I'm not being ironic. I think it's great the way that he tries to put that on, even if I don't like the accent. Here's the problem, though. In the song That Wasn't Me by Shaggy, it was him. Caught me buck naked, screwing on the bathroom floor, or whatever. I can't sing the whole song. I have it stuck in my head. But the whole joke is that it actually was him. And going back to this whole idea of it wasn't me, that was a body double, and we've done dozens of switches. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. So he got metaphorically killed. And he is saying that he was not metaphorically killed because he had a body double. You can't be, if you are metaphorically killed, it can't be a body double because your essence was killed. Your presence, your influence, your place in culture was killed. The body double metaphor doesn't work. That's why one of the GIFs, one of the thumbnails I might use is just Wile E. Coyote completely flattened saying that wasn't me. Yeah, okay, so the Roadrunner, he painted on the side of the wall, and I thought it was a road, so I just ran as hard as I possibly could and cracked my skull in 5 different places and had my brain sopping out my ear. But that wasn't me. I didn't lose. You can't have a body double and a metaphorical death. And even if we're trying to accept this whole thing, just because you're saying you're not dead doesn't mean he didn't kill you. Tried to light the front gate up. It wasn't for Christmas. Said a prayer that morning for Sean, and it wasn't religious. So I guess this is about his compound being shot up. But that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, that's a sad thing, but that has nothing to do with anything as far as I can tell. Rapping is over for now. It came like a sudden decision. I don't give an F about you snakes or these other musicians. So is he trying to say that 2 days after he drops The Hard Part 6, the song that launched this channel into the stratosphere, okay? I had 70,000 subscribers before that song. I had 100 after, okay? So I am very thankful to Drake's Hard Part 6. But 2 days after that was when the compound got shot up. So he's now trying to say that he retired from the battle because of getting shot up, not because the Hard Part 6 was the worst song, the biggest white flag. Started effing with my family, I'm going to prison, and we all crashing out together as my brother's complicit. So again, just going this whole thing you can't talk about families? That's off limits. It's not like I don't talk about families. I've never talked about families. I never said Whitney's name in any of my songs, and if I did, it was my body double was rapping. My body double was texting with Millie Bobby Brown. My body double was groping 17-year-olds. My body double is a groomer. Don't worry about me. Who, me? I'm Anita Max Wynn. I'm not Drake. And then he's got that line about put the pipe bomb in your truck. It was an exhibit, which I just happened to just recently rewatch that episode of Boondocks with Exhibit. And I had to spend an extended period of time explaining to my teenage daughter what Pimp My Ride was. And she's like, oh yeah, I saw a Saturday Night Live sketch about it. What's interesting here is he says, I got to remember what to do with this shit if it comes to fruition. Because this image also, I think, is maybe trying to tie us into Casino. Because Casino is a fascinating, it's my favorite Scorsese movie. I just started my Letterboxd, and I realized that's my favorite Scorsese movie. Absolutely love Casino. And it starts off with Bobby D. His car blows up, and it starts off with this line while the theme from Contempt by Godard is playing. If you love somebody, you gotta trust them. There's just no other way. And that's the thing. Drake can't trust anybody, and therefore he doesn't love anybody. Who's got the most to lose, and who's in that other position? That's a weirdly phrased sentence. Signal conversations, boy. I hope they got that double encryption. I hate to see the empire crumble on judges' convictions. Just why? Why? Why would you say judge? Why would you say court? Why would you say anything? Again, the same way that you should not be using any words that have the sound "peed" in them, you should not use anything that has anything to do with the court system, because the entire world is against you on that. This pulled a rabbit out of a hat and y'all love a magician. It's funny to see you rejoicing and hugging and kissing. So the pop-out was a rabbit in a hat. Not Like Us was a rabbit in a hat. Euphoria was a rabbit in a hat. Super Bowl was a rabbit in a hat. The best rap album of one of the best years for rap ever was a rabbit in a hat. If this is magic, if this is gimmicks, Drake, dude, you need to go to the Magic Castle, you know? You need to figure this out. What are we celebrating? I'll rent out the club in addition. That's so sad. So he's saying that, like, I won't let you celebrate. I'll rent out the club. He's saying I will use my money to make sure that nobody gets to celebrate. I will rent out the club and just sit there by myself playing slots on my phone while smoking my copium and drinking my alcohol. The next time, bury me in gold. My blood is Egyptian. The Dennis James come out when the vodka is flooded in my system. I don't have a drinking problem. Hey, who says I don't have a drinking problem? People who have drinking problems. I never say I don't have a drinking problem because it never comes up. I've got a subtle addiction. I think he's talking about gambling, which of course, never forgive Drake for the fact that he is sponsored by Stake.com. He is trying to get as many people addicted to class warfare against the poor as he can. He's trying to keep as many people poor as possible by supporting Stake. Never forgive him for that. I've got my father's habits. I've got my mother's permission. I don't know. Are you a psychologist? Is there a psychologist who's watching this video? Chat. Can you tell me what's going on here? I've got my father's habits and I've got my mother's permission. That is some of like the weirdest, like, I've called him a weirdo before, but that's a really weird line. My dad has another child. I told him that wasn't my sister. What is going on, Drake? You're falling apart. What does that mean? My dad has another child. I told him it wasn't my sister. That's mean. Of course it's your sister. What does that mean? I grew up with dozens of Jews? Out of left field. You know how Kendrick told him, I don't want to hear you say the N-word anymore? Like, if I were Jewish, I'd be like, I'm not sure I want to hear you say Jews anymore. The way he says, I grew up with dozens of Jews. It is awkward. Churches with dozens of Christians. It's like, he sounds like Mitt Romney. I got binders of them. And also developed a deep respect for the Muslim religion. Like, all right, dude, what about Hinduism, huh? What about Buddhism, huh? Have you looked into the tenets of Zoroastrianism, Drake? Huh? Are you a bigot? Like what is this? And then he goes like out of this. Okay, so hey, I'm ready. Correct me, Drake stands, Drake fans who are watching this, who hate my guts. I got you. Okay, you explain to me the logic of this. My dad had another child. I told him it wasn't my sister. Religious. I'm black. Okay, you just go ahead. You tell me how this is structured and not just absolute gobbledygook. I'm staring at my daddy while y'all tell me I wasn't that N-word. That is a demonstrative adjective. Okay, that's what that word that is. It's to point things out. Demonstrative, like to show. Okay, Mr. gets sunburnt in a snowstorm. I'm not going to be the person to talk about this. I'm just going to say that I think he wanted to use an indefinite article as opposed to a demonstrative adjective. I think we're entering what's the dirt territory here with things being actually really interesting with how he's using this word and what he's trying to say with this sentence. Because that is not what he means. But I don't want to get more into it. But I invite people who should be talking about this to talk about this, because that's a very weird line. So there's my thoughts. Got kind of spooky there at the end. I don't know if I'm going to have to like go back and edit. I don't think I said anything I'll regret it. Maybe I did. I don't know. All right. Well, anyways, I got to help my daughter finish up her college essays. Any of you applying to college right now? If so, do your parents a break and just finish. All right. Got to figure out where the camera is on my new setup. There's the camera.